Nearly 100% of American political talk is useless garbage, designed to lead the people to rant emotionally at each other like babies, instead of talking and reasoning about the values, goals, principles, issues, and ideas that are the substance of real political talk. The strange part of it all is that we already know that the vast majority of our political talk is total garbage. Yet to our shame, we simply allow it to continue, and even participate in it. So how is it that we all know that most American political talk is useless garbage? Consider the absolute dominance of ad hominem argument in U.S. political talk. Ad hominem argument is a logical fallacy that occurs when we attack people personally, instead of discussing the ideas and issues these people bring to the table as being relevant to governing our nation. The proof that we know this is wrong is that none of us would allow such irrelevant talk in real life. When real things need to get done, nobody uses ad hominem arguments to reject or accept ideas. Why? Because we know it is bogus crap. Everyone knows. Everyone knows we do not discuss carpentry, for example, by talking about the ethical defects of some carpenters. We know that the only way to talk about carpentry is to talk about how to make things out of wood. Nobody talks about farming by discussing what some farmers are doing with their genitals. We all know that the only way to discuss farming is by talking about how to grow crops. Nobody takes their car to an auto mechanic without expecting them to think and talk about fixing the car. If an auto mechanic refused to discuss the details of getting your car fixed, but could not stop talking about those bad auto mechanics across town that he thinks are evil, you would not do business with such complete incompetence. Nobody goes to the doctors without expecting them to think and talk about your medical problems. If your doctors started talking like politicians, refusing to discuss your medical problems, but oh my, they cannot stop accusing each other of perverse corruptions, you would literally run for your life. We all know this is true. We all know that nobody accepts this kind of useless idiocy when real things need to get done in our daily lives. We cannot allow ourselves to talk politics by reducing the whole of the governance of the most complex and powerful nation in the history of nations to merely talking about who is doing what with their genitals, or who is the biggest liar, or what individuals or groups have evil character. Nobody talks about fishing by discussing how evil some fishermen are. We all know that we talk about fishing by talking about how to catch fish. If you would not allow ad hominem arguments in a simple talk about changing a light bulb, why would you ever allow it in the more complex and demanding talk about governing our nation? It is grotesquely ridiculous and shameful that we have so severely neglected the quality of our political talk, such that we now have higher standards for talk about making a wooden cabinet than we have for governing the United States of America. Some might say, but wait, we have to talk about who gets a job in politics. We must have people of good character. So talking about a person's character is real political talk. The answer to that is no. This is not true at all. The truth is that we want everyone in our lives to have good character. Nobody wants their auto mechanic to rig their car to kill them. Nobody wants a brain surgeon who cheated in medical school and is a lazy alcoholic to operate on their brain. And yet we do not mistake talk about carpentry for talk about the character of carpenters. Nobody confuses talking about how to make things out of wood with what some carpenter did with his dick last week. Nobody confuses talking about the work ethic of a surgeon with a discussion about the medical sciences related to surgical procedures. In every art, trade, or science that affects our daily lives, we know that talking about the subject matter of that art, trade, or science is a distinctly different conversation from talking about the character of the people working in those arts, trades, and sciences. Just realize this: politics is not the sole exception for this principle. Politics, like everything else, has a definable subject matter that is different from the human character of the individuals and groups participating in politics. Talking about the character or motivations of politicians or political groups is not the same as discussing the values, goals, and principles that are necessary for the constitutionally faithful governance of the United States of America. Americans have forgotten that we, the people, are not just spectators passively watching a political game. We are the main players with a responsibility to focus on real issues and principles pertinent to the effective governance of our country. We forgot that we cannot do politics like passive consumers and just purchase with our vote the professionals we want to do the job while we sit back and attend to our daily lives. We, the people, are the ones who must be discussing in depth and detail the priorities of values, goals, and principles for the governance of our nation. But we will never do that if we allow our politicians to lead us by the nose, like a bunch of performing circus animals, to only belittle each other with ridiculously childish culture war talk. We, the people, must reform how we talk politics or be prepared to give up our nation to the thieves who are, right now, in the process of stealing our country from us. To put it concisely, we must stop talking politics like whining babies, pointing our accusing fingers at each other. Real political talk requires that we focus on holding ourselves accountable to the knowledge of and exercising our capacity to reason about the values, goals, principles, and issues necessary to maintain constitutionally faithful governance of the United States of America. Our essay, The Infantilization of the American Citizen, Newspeak, and the Art of the Steal, describes in detail how all of our political talk has been deliberately transformed into useless, personally disrespectful, and wholly irrelevant culture war baby talk, in order to stop the people from having any political influence and to facilitate the theft of our nation by its wealthy powers. Nobody has an influence over what goes on in making things out of wood if they never think about or talk about carpentry. Nobody has any power in medicine to heal if they never think or talk about the medical sciences. We do not have political power if we never think or talk about the political governance of our nation. Using ad hominem argument is not talking politics. The 10 methods of destroying American political talk and their relationship to George Orwell's 1984 have been detailed in our essay. Click on it below to read it. The essay also has a section on how to fix our political talk, but for now, I will give you just one powerful principle for correcting our political talk. It is simple, easy to use. Just stop. Just stop using partisan labels. This will automatically correct our useless political talk and force us to remain focused on the values, goals, principles, issues, and ideas that we need to be talking about in depth. A powerful, quick improvement is to just voluntarily give up using the words Democrat, Republican, left, right, conservative, and liberal in all political talk. I also recommend giving up words like socialism, capitalism, woke, and Nazi. There is no point in talking about Republicans and Democrats directly. Just discuss the issues and ideas without talking about who came up with the ideas. And what is up with only using one word to describe everything that you do not like? With some people, everything is woke. This is meaningless. Nobody would allow their business manager to talk about what was wrong with the many faceted problems of business by just saying the word icky over and over and over. We expect a business manager to do more than wage an imaginary war against icky. Nobody would allow their doctor to only use one word to describe all medical problems. We know that it takes more than one word to effectively discuss complex issues. You have to use more than one word to intelligently discuss real political issues. You have a vocabulary. You must use it. Try it. Just drop all partisan labels and discuss the values, goals, principles, and ideas directly, without any mention of who supports them and who does not. At some point, you can indeed mention who you want to vote for, but this should never supersede real talk about real issues. Give it a try.